Hello and welcome to episode 14 of the Board States Pod. I am your host, the rhododendron Reggie, joined by Juniper Jazz because spring is in the air here in April. And we are talking about a lot of stuff today. Our main topic is about etiquette, board game etiquette. There's a lot of unwritten rules within the best hobby in the world, as we always say. And so we're going to talk about we kind of brought 5 tips each, and I'm really excited about that. Later, we will be talking about the En la Mesa, which is our first impression segment of the show. We always close out our show. Today, Jazz is taking it back to 2013 with Concordia, which I'm very excited to talk about with him. We've been playing on BGA. And I've got 2 piping hot upcoming games for 2026, and those are Counterpoint and Pack of Penguins. So we like to switch it up. We like to do everything here. And before we do all that, as we always do, we're going to start with the state of mind. And I've got a very fun mini game for Jazz here today. How are we doing? Good morning, Jazz. Afternoon for you over there.
Well, yeah. Good afternoon, Reg. Good morning to you. I'm doing well. Holiday weekend. I've been enjoying that family time. Like I always said, family comes first. But yeah, we're doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing great too. It has been awesome. This is Easter Monday for all the listeners out there, for the dearest gentle listeners. So we're actually getting to record in the daytime. I am working from home today, which is awesome. So let's just get right into it. I think this is going to be a quicker conversation. We think that we're going to spark some emotional, fun conversations when we get to the main topic. So I kind of want to leave us room for that. So I'm going to jump right in. This is inspired. Our state of mind today is inspired by what I watch all the time. I've been watching Celebrity Jeopardy a lot lately. I love this new tournament they've been doing, and they do
nice. I haven't watched Jeopardy in a while.
I love it, man.
We don't have live television here in the house, so it's just...
It's great, especially if you want to watch. If you want to feel smart, watch the celebrity ones because they kind of dumb down the questions for the actors and the musicians.
Jeopardy, right for me. I like it.
Yes, exactly. But anyway, one thing they always do is before and after, okay? And so if you haven't watched it in a long time, basically they're going to give you a clue that's trying to think about 2 items. There's going to be basically 2 answers, but the last word of the first answer is the same as the second one, okay? So I'm going to give you an example, and these are all board games. I have an example that's a board game one I was very proud of, but this is the easiest one. Okay, use dice and manage your clan to impress the daimyo in Japan. Then head on over to France to use dice, silver mines, boats, and animals to have the best regions. Okay, do you want me to just give you do you have an idea what games I'm talking about?
Just give me the answer, because I have no freaking clue what that is.
So the answer for before and after is White Castles of Burgundy. Okay. Combining, that's the before and after.
Clever.
Yes, you're combining one game to another. So I'm basically giving you clues for 2 games that share a word, okay? And I don't know how easy these are going to be. They might be very, very hard, so it's okay. I think there's going to be some listeners who are going to really be excellent at this. But before we do the real questions, I've got 5 for you. We got to talk about the victory points, okay? And today, as always, it is a Boricua cuisine, a cuisine from Puerto Rico. And I have to shout out Edith over at the game room in Punchboard Cathedral down in Ventura, California. I messaged her. She lived in Puerto Rico for a long time, and she gave me a bunch of food, 4 or 5 that I am going to be using over the next few weeks. So just know Edith has gave me the idea. This one I have not had myself, at least not since I was a kid, but it's lechon. Okay, lechon.
Some lechon.
Yes, which in Puerto Rico we'll say lechon asado, but this is something that's all over the world. I mean, a lot of Filipino families, East Asia, Spain, Portugal. It's basically just a big roasted suckling pig, and people eat that. So each answer today is just a little slice, just a little crackling of lechon is what you get if you get these right on them.
I want the cuero. I want that nice fatty piece.
That's exactly what you got to get. That's beautiful. Okay, here we go. So for before and after, they're all video game. They're all board game related. Only one of them is a designer, and the rest are all answers are board games. Okay.
All right, Rich, I have to cut you off because I'm going to just preface this because the guys over at Table Knots, specifically Doolin, did something like this on his channel a while back, and I actually participated in this.
Okay.
And I will tell you, I'm terrible at this.
Okay, so that's
100%
totally,
terrible.
that's totally
I'll
fine.
get maybe one game in the beginning, and I can never connect it to the next one. But
Okay.
I have fun with this. Let's see if I can do better.
Okay, if you can just get, even if you just give me, if you tell me the game, I'll give you, a sampling. But yeah, I hope we have fun. I hope the listeners have fun. All right, here we go. The first spice-filled worker placement game on Arrakis meets a heavy civilization card game with the Taino people as a faction. Okay, what games are you thinking? Do you know it automatically? What do you got?
Yes, it's Dune Imperium, but I don't know which one. I'm gonna say it's not classics.
With the
Dune
Taino people in it.
Imperium Horizons.
Let's go!
Let's go.
That's exactly it. Dune Imperium Horizons. I haven't even played Imperium Horizons, but I want to play it because it has the Taino people, which were the native people on the island of Borican in Puerto Rico. So I've been dying to play it. I need to just buy it outright. But
yes, when you told me that the Tainos were in this one, this is the one that got this on my radar.
Yeah, so yep, Dune Imperium Horizons. Well done. See, that was easy, man. You got that so easy. He's already.
I think I got it now. Let's see.
Yeah, let's get it. Okay, here we go. Another one. And I tried to do popular games, just so you know, so here we go. Actually, pause real quick. Just an aside. We've been talking about this with AI and everything too. Us board gamers, we're pretty Luddite when it comes to artificial intelligence. We don't like technology. We like analog stuff anyway. I tried to use AI to just try to help me with this. Didn't even come close to coming up with one clue. This is all from my brain because AI will never be able to do this type of stuff, okay? Anyway, all right. So here we go. So if the clues are bad, it's just on me. I can't blame Gemini or anything. Take your cattle from Texas to Kansas City, and then over winding loops of hiking, biking, and kayaking. I think you'll know the first game easier than the second game, yeah. And it's usually going to be after the then or is the split between both games.
I don't know. Give me the description of the whole thing again.
I'll do it again. Yep.
I know the first game.
Okay, good. Take your cattle from Texas to Kansas City, one game, and then over winding loops of hiking, biking, and kayaking is the second game. My only tip is that it is on BGA, but you might not have played this one. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think I've played the second game, but it's definitely Great Western Trail.
Do you want to throw anything?
Trail of Infinity. I have no idea.
That's great. That's good. It is Great Western Trailblazers. There's a little card game called Trailblazers. Yep.
Gotcha.
And you make all these loops of hiking.
Is that a Ryan Courtney design?
I don't know, actually. I think you're actually right. That does sound familiar. I was looking it up when I did. That sounds familiar. So, yeah, we'll have to fact check us. Producers, fact check us on that. Thank you. All right. That's great. We'll give you half a point there. So you have 1.5 portions of lechon here, okay? All right, next one. The cooperative party game with only singular clues gets taken over by a lycanthrope-infested village. Do you know what a lycanthrope is?
Yeah, I'm thinking like Underworld.
Okay, yes.
Like a werewolf,
not the
right?
vampires, yes. Okay, so it's cooperative party game with singular clues.
Just One Night Werewolf.
Let's go!
Let's go.
One Night Ultimate Werewolf. But yes.
Ultimate Werewolf. There you go. All right.
That's full points. I think people would have got
baby.
that one I was very proud of. Just One Night Ultimate Werewolf. Okay. This is the one that has a designer in it. Okay. Mixed with a board game. The designer of Magic the Gathering decides to play a 1 to 2 player Uwe Rosenberg game about farming in Germany. Go figure.
So Richard Garfield.
Is that the designer?
Richard Garfield's of Arl, right?
Yes, good job.
Yes.
Richard Garfield's of Arl. Yes. That was so
baby.
stupid.
Let's go.
Dude, you are 3-4. You're like 3.5 for 4. We're doing great here.
Go,
we're doing
baby.
Great. Yes. Richard Garfield's of Arl. I had way too much fun coming up with these. Okay, and the final one, which I had to do. We're sticking with Uwe a little here, actually. So here we go. The ultimate zoo and conservation theme mega hit gets re-implemented by Uwe Rosenberg, just like Habitats, in the same line as Framework and Sagani. Okay. This is a tough one.
Oh.
That's the last one.
I know the second game, but I don't know like the combination of it. It's Arc Nova Luna?
Arc Nova Luna! Good job.
Let's
That
go.
is the
Let's
answer.
go.
Wow. And you haven't even
Yes,
played Arc Nova,
baby.
really? That's amazing. Wow.
No. I've never played
4.5
either
out
of these.
5.
Well,
Yeah.
I've played Arc Nova on BGA,
On BGA,
and I
yes.
just clicked buttons, and came in dead last.
As we always do, yeah, I've been playing Habitats on Board Game Arena, which Nova Luna is a re-implementation of. Habitats is so good. I love this game. I'll probably talk about it in a future episode, but I've been really loving Habitats. All right, there you go. There's before and after. I think that might be a recurring one. I might bring that back if I could think of something.
Yeah, that's fun. I like that one.
Way to go. Awesome. Okay, so for our main topic today, we're talking about etiquette. Manners, if you will. And I'm going to channel my inner Kenan, shout out to the Punchboard Cathedral podcast again, and just give a little story, go down memory lane to the 5th grade here. And I had a 5th grade teacher. I was at a new school. I had just moved, and we found out at the beginning of the year that you needed to have some dress clothes ready for a big event, like before Christmas, around like the holiday break, that they called fancy schmancy. Okay. Fancy schmancy at elementary school, which again, I bet they don't do stuff like this anymore, but it was one of those things where we were supposed to learn etiquette and like holding open a chair for someone and how to use your manners. And we learned all this basic etiquette stuff in the 5th grade. And I remember my like quote unquote date. There wasn't date, but you got partnered up with Jennifer C, I'll say. And it was amazing to just like do these things. And I didn't know anything. And it was just awesome because there were so many unwritten manners rules that again your parents should teach you, depending on your culture though too, and depending on your background. And I just didn't know a lot of these things, and it was like a very helpful thing for me to learn about from Fancy Schmancy. So like we're going to provide a Fancy Schmancy event for the dearest gentle listeners today.
Yeah. Listen, we've got to, like, they don't do this stuff anymore. Like you said, they don't do these things. It's one of those things. I remember being young and like understanding that like how you properly like eat at the table, and like how you use your fork and your knife. And there's something that I think we learned. We talked about this like at least middle school. They probably like went over etiquette, proper etiquette. And my first question was like, I'm left-handed. You mean I have to like switch everything over to my right and then do this? I'm like, how do I do that?
That's true. And there's arguments that the rules, they don't keep everyone in mind, that there may be for a certain type of person, but for board games, I do think there are some things that we all benefit from if you don't do this and do this. So we're going to talk about them. So I'm going to let Jazz start. We just kind of brought our own tips and advice. We thought this would really make for a great conversation. So if you want to chime in, if there's something we missed, or there's just something that really like a pet peeve or a thing that you wish everybody did, email us at boardstatespod@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your board game etiquette tips. Here we go, Jazz. Start us out.
Yeah, I bet this is not in any specific order, but I'm going to out myself right off the bat.
Okay.
Right? Because this is the one thing that I did constantly when I got so like just down the rabbit hole into the hobby, right?
Of course.
You want to like tell everybody, scream it from the mountaintops how great this hobby is.
Evangelize.
Why it's, yeah, exactly. You want to evangelize for this hobby, and you want to introduce everybody to every game that you love and that's you sat in front of. But I think it's number one, when you have a game night, it's pick the game for the audience.
Totally.
Don't pick the game for you. This is not about you. This is about getting people to love the hobby more the same way you did. And if you can pick the game for the audience, hopefully there's going to be a time down the line that they step into your world and start wanting to try out new things.
Preach.
Get them to love the hobby first. Don't get them to, get to where you're at and meet you where you're at because you have the 30 games on your shelf that are unplayed, and now you found someone who will actually give you the time of day to sit at the table. No, get them to a game that is where they're at. You just need them one step above Monopoly, then get to them one step above Monopoly.
Yep.
And then they're going to be, wow, I didn't know the hobby was like this. What else is there? So when they start asking you for what's the next step, that's when you start exploring it more. And this is something that I've learned specifically from my wife, and it's the reason why she said, people don't like to game with us you anymore because like they're just turned off because you want to introduce them to something new all the time, and they're getting turned off by having to learn something new every time they sit at a table with you. Yes. So it might bore you, but if it's about the people, make it about the people.
Yeah. Are you really about the people or not? That's a great, okay.
Oh man, yes. Great. If you're really about the people,
it's not about the game. Yeah. And I think people really underestimate how hard it is for new people to learn the games. Like we've said this a million times, but as soon as you tell me, Jazz, if you said this is a worker placement game, I know 60% of the rules. We've said this on the pod before already.
Correct.
So it's just like the baseline stuff that we have ingrained, like people don't have that. You have to explain things so much, and that is taxing. And then by the time you get to play the game, it's too much. So I knew we'd have some crossover. So this is my number 4. It's very close to mine. So I'll just jump to my 4 to just highlight this one real quick, which is basically I am usually the host. I am usually or I'm at least the curator. Like I'm bringing several games. That is kind of my thing. If there's one thing I will give myself praise for in this hobby, is that I know how to bring the games for the audience. I have done the research. I have made a collection that has games for every audience, whether we have gamers and non-gamers or just non-gamers, just the sweats, whatever we have, I can bring something here, there. And so my crossover here was, I was kind of saying, be open to new experiences. As the serious gamer, I want to play what others bring. For me, at this point, it's okay that if I show up to game night with 10 games in my bag and we play one of them or none of them, I'm actually okay with that. And I actually, it has taken me a long time to get there. But when I love playing games that people are excited about. There's nothing worse than forcing a game on somebody that doesn't want to play it.
Exactly.
And so I just thought that was the big thing for me was just like, when you show up to game night, be open-minded to one, try a genre you don't like, or a game that's lighter than you'd like or heavier than you'd like. Like I do find myself to be an omni gamer, and I know people have their lanes and this is the only thing they like. But I just think when you go to a game night and multiple people are bringing games, you should be open to play what everybody's excited to play what they brought. And so I'm at a point now where I'm trying to say, hey, whatever you guys brought, I'm in, I'm ready. I don't mind learning games. It's my favorite thing, which I know sounds crazy, but I love learning new games. Gamers want to experience new things for the most part. So I'm happy to learn any new game, and I'm a pretty quick learner. So if you have people who don't like learning, let them play the games they know, and you can be the one to take on the tax of learning tax.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow, that's great. That's good. That'll be my number 1. So you can just go to your number 2.
I think this kind of just piggybacks off of like knowing the audience, right? Picking the right game. But this is also for the people that are at that game night that you've picked the game for. So it's about respecting the components, right? I don't know about you, Reg. I know I've played games with non-gamers, right? And you have this card game that, you want to introduce them to. And like, I'll specifically say like something like Nana, which is a very easy game. But when I got my copy of Nana, I had to import that, right, from Japan. And then it's one of those things like, you're looking how people hold the cards and they're bending the cards and they're like tapping the cards. Like this is not your regular deck of cards that you're just going to buy at like Target, Walmart, anywhere you go, the dollar store, you could just get a new deck. You can't readily get these games, right? So yes, I think it also comes to knowing your audience, right? So there's certain games you may not want to bring out with the audience because you also don't want to feel like that jerk of like, hey, can you not do that to the cards, right? Totally. You don't want to be that type because you want to be inviting. But I just think it's like going over somebody's house. Like, I don't know. My mom said when we go into that house, I don't want you to touch anything. I want you to sit there. I don't want you to ask for anything. You wait. You speak when you're spoken to. That's a Hispanic thing too. I don't know about other people.
My mom was like, we're going in public. Okay, we're going into public. You need to act right.
But it was just these things, right? Like there's these unwritten rules of like when you go somewhere, you respect where you're going. Yeah. So I also think that's another thing, right? When you're invited to a game night, and just respect the rules. Like help out where you can. Can you help set up? Can you help put things together? That person took the time out of their day to kind of set this event for you. So yeah, it's just being respectful of the components, being respectful of the environment. Just that's just so in and of itself. I just think that's an unwritten rule. But again, I feel like some of these obvious things
seems
are
obvious.
not so obvious anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I wrote specifically bending cards. Please don't bend my cards. And
Yes,
I wrote Nana specifically. I didn't write this down, but I imported Nana as well. Not Trio. Trio's amazing, but I sleeved my Nana, and I'm glad that I did for a reason I'll talk about in a second. Because I feel like you're going to keep stealing my thunder here. Because I kind of wrote this one. My number two was help with setup and tear down, unless explicitly told not to. I do have a buddy who, sometimes it's like, this is how I need it in here. Like, I'm a little OCD. Like, let me put it away. But for the most part, like, don't just sit there scrolling when the host of the game who just taught you the game is also just cleaning up the entire thing on their own. So that's my number two. But I'm gonna go to my number one because I don't want you to steal this one for me.
Please do.
So the first one that came to mind, and this is again thanks to my wife, is be prepared, is what I called it. And so that is learning the rules ahead of time. I think this happens at cons even too, where it's just like sitting down and being the teacher, which people expect me to be, a lot of times, I want to know the game well. And I have the new Mistborn deck building game. I bought it from a birthday gift card. And I've been wanting to teach it to my game club, but I don't want to bring it and like read the rule book I want to at least have watched a video or read a rule book, or in a game, this game has this option. A lot of games have it. Play the game solo one time or set it up one time in your house. Just get the feel for stuff so that you can do a better teach. The problem is if you've only read the rule book, a lot of times it's hard for you to teach a game if you haven't even played it, even though you've read the rules. Sometimes it's straightforward, but that medium to larger ones. And so I would just say, make sure you actually know the full rules. And I learned this from my wife, who if I am doing a teach, and then I have to go check the rule book in the middle of the teach, there is retribution. Okay, she's like, do you actually know this game? Because she doesn't want any sort of like checking. She wants us to just get into the thing. If she has sat down to take the time to learn a game, which she does not like it doesn't matter. She is smarter than me. She reads a million books, but like learning a game, even though she's played hundreds, is still effort for her because she doesn't have the inherent interest that I do, and she will start glazing at about 2-3 minutes. So I got to get the pertinent stuff out. I've gotten very good at it. And on the other side of that, which is in with be prepared, please lock in for the teach. Like that is one thing that is my biggest pet peeve, is if you are coming there and you want to play the game and you're excited to learn something, like pay attention, ask questions if you need clarifying questions, but like don't just try so hard not to zone out. I know it's hard. I know everyone's brains are different because like, again, when I'm learning a game, like I'm so locked in. There's nothing that I'm like in the zone. I am asking questions. I'm ready to learn. I'm already thinking about strategy from the first rule that comes out. But I know not everyone is like that. But can you just try your best to like pay attention? Don't look at your phone. Don't be like starting conversations when the teach is going on. Lock in for the teach. Be prepared to teach if you are the one teaching. That's my number one.
Yeah, that I have that on my list. So I'm glad you went ahead of me. Yeah, it's
man.
Like,
we really see we're in the same
kind
thing.
of be respectful of those rules. It's as you being the person, like I found myself at times. Right, we understand my game night is always after a work day, so it's a few hours after I get at work day. Me and 3 of my buddies, we have a 4th that we've recently added. We all get together and we sit there and we play the game. What we try to do is prior to, at least a couple days before, hey, this is your pick this week. What game are we going to play? And normally the person who's in charge will learn the game, and then everybody else we kind of take it upon ourselves to try and learn the game as well. If not, watch a video or something. So we share that video. That way, when we're teaching it, we have some backup.
Base, again, just like a base.
Yeah, there's going to be some things that you may, blunder over or forget. But when you have that person, the other person at the table who's willing to do that, and I'm glad that my game group is very good like that. We will, if I'm teaching a game and I might miss something, and I know I haven't, that maybe I'm not going to teach it in this order, I'll have my buddy Dave or Mike, they'll be like, and then also you can do this. I was like, oh yeah, I was going to get to that. And sometimes we kind of joke with each other. I don't step on my toes, none of the thing. But like for example, this past week we played Luthier, and originally we were going to have a 4-person game night, and we were going to play 2 specific games already.
Nice.
One person unfortunately couldn't make it last minute, so like the day of, we had to flip script, or the day before we had to flip script on what we were going to play. We had no idea what we were going to play. I said, I have no time to learn either of these games. I can play, Lost Ruins of Arnak, and I have the expansions. I haven't played the expansions, but I know the rules. We can get through it.
Yeah.
My other buddy wanted to play Luthier. I says, I have no time to learn this. So my one buddy Dave took it upon himself. Actually, Dave and Mike took it upon themselves. They learned the rules, and we stumbled through the rules a little bit, but we had an awesome epic game night.
Yeah.
And it's like, now we know we have the rules on lock and we're ready to go. But yeah, be respectful that time. Like, get off the phone for a little bit. Sometimes I'll look at my phone on something, but I know it. But I'm also trying to respond to my wife. Hey, I made it here safely. Blah,
Yes,
blah, blah,
of
blah.
course.
Yeah.
There's sometimes I'm like, just 1 second. Like my wife has a baby. I gotta text her real quick.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I also think this kind of ties into like. When you are doing a game night, one of the big things a lot of people will do is like 1 a.m. you guys want to play a 3-hour game that nobody knows at the table. And I just think, again, this is not an etiquette thing. This is more just my tip for you. Like, don't do that. It's like, just you be aware of the time. I know us. I mean, I'm the worst with this, to be honest, because especially after work, it's like, my time is so fleeting. Like, I'm out of the house. I get to play my board games. I got to go back to work tomorrow. It's always so tough to like accept, like, we probably should play a 30-minute game. And if you didn't bring any 30-minute games, that's on you. Like, that's a big thing. I always, when I was talking about Castle Combo last episode, it is so clutch because it fits that 20-minute window. And it's like, you should have games ready they call them a filler for a reason. You fill that time between the big boys, or that last 15 minutes you have before people got to go home to their wife and child. So that is, yeah. Okay, that's great.
I agree.
We kind of talked about almost all of mine already. I'm gonna just say the
keep
terms.
Going, Reg.
Keep going. The one I really wanted to touch on, which you talked about with bending cards, and I was hinting at, is I call this one Honor Camelot. Okay, and I call it that because I do not have a board game table. Our house didn't work out the way it does. It's got a nice space for a dining room, but it is the exact shape that it really needs a round table. It's like a perfect square. And so it's like a nook. And so we have this huge 60-inch diameter round table. So I call that area Camelot because it's like the Knights of the Round Table.
Perfect.
So if anybody's coming to play board games, it's great. I'll just say, if you're thinking about a round table, don't go that big. It's terrible. You have to stand up to reach the middle of the table, and you can't reach across.
Definitely.
Yeah, like a rectangle is just so much better for board gaming. I wish I had a real one. I lost that battle. It's just how our house, we got everything. We got everything else we wanted in the house. I have my own game room. But the big thing about honoring Camelot, I was like, when you're in Camelot, this is mystical Arthurian time. There's no phones here. That was my big thing. It's like, don't be distracted. Like, get off your phone. Like, you can send that text saying I'm alive.
I love that analogy.
But it's like, don't do that. The food, like, we don't want to be spilling goblets of wine, which I had wine spill on my nana, and it was in sleeves, so it was protected. Which was my wife too, by the way, who's she's not clumsy at all. Like, I'm the clumsy one, and it was so great to see her like make a blunder because she's so perfect all the time. So that was great. The Queen, Her Majesty. It's awesome to see royalty heir. You know what I mean?
Her Majesty in Camelot.
In Camelot. And then I said, like, respecting components, which is bending cards, and even food, like having gross hand, like wash your hands if you're touching stuff. Like, don't bend cards. Don't like just toss things really hard or whatever. And there's just, you got to be gentle with stuff as well. So it was just kind of like, honor Camelot, honor the space. Whether it's your own space, like, respect the board games, respect the stuff, but also when you're at someone else's house or you're at a game shop, like, really, really honor the respect the space that you're in with board games and give it your undivided attention, because that's what's so great about the hobby.
Yeah, I think I had like, kind of going into snacks is one of the things you said, like the type of snacks that you have at the table, it's just be mindful of those things too, right? Like, the Doritos, like stuff that's going to like linger on your fingers and it's going to get onto the cards. And like, I don't think people are, this isn't, a Candyland, right? Where you just go pick up another like $9
for
copy
$10,
you could probably go to the Goodwill store and get another copy for like $2, right? It's just one of those things, just being mindful of that, right? So yeah, if you're going to have messier treats, all right, take a break. Like, have those between your games that you have, and, you take your games, I know for me, when we have a longer game night, maybe on a Saturday or something like that, we'll set some like, messier treats. We do have our Doritos. So just
I was going to say, what
chips.
Do you want to do an aside and just say, what are some of your go-to clean snacks. I have my number one like that is perfect for game night. What do you like to have?
Our regular game night that we always do,
Yeah.
We just have a bunch of different like Entenmann's, tasty cakes, little like treats like that.
I want
right?
to
That's
come
what we
over.
normally would have.
I love me some pastries.
And then we have where all of us drink like the sugar-free soda. So it's got like, the Coke Zero, the stuff like that, the sugar-free drinks that are there. So we just set them up by the table. And the good thing about like the cakes, even the honey buns are fine because like you keep them in the wrapper while you eat. So that's what we have. So most of us have either like eaten right before dinner.
Yeah.
Some of us like me, I don't really get a chance on our game night. If I'm working late, I don't get a chance to eat dinner. I might have had a bigger lunch.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll just snack a little bit at the game night and then I'm on my way home.
Wow.
And my wife will say, like, I get home around midnight.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my game night's like 6 to 9. So actually, that's you're going hard. I'll say
we're like 7 to 11, 7 to 11:30 is kind of where we're trying to time it out.
Gamers.
So.
I will say food wise, I want to respond to all the things you just said, all the food specifically you said. I love treats. I would love to have some pastries. Honey bun is a sticky thing, but let me just say here real quick, Little Debbie is not the same as it was when I was a kid. Am I crazy, or is the recipes for Little Debbie like nowhere near as good as it was when you were children, or is it just a nostalgia thing that I don't remember?
I don't know. Little Debbie's really not as big here. Yes, we do get them. But here is like Entenmann's and Tasty Cakes are the biggest things. Yeah. But I know there's other parts of the people in the West Coast, they don't get those too. Yeah. But like here, like butterscotch crimpets, the oatmeal cookies, the oatmeal cream cookies.
Yeah, oatmeal pie, cream pies. Yeah.
But I know it seems like even some of those, the recipes aren't the same. Yeah. So it's like, you get what you get. You get what you
get. My dad's from New York, so he loves Entenmann's. Like he was just here to meet the baby, and he had to go to the grocery store and buy a 6-pack of old-fashioned Entenmann's donuts. That's what he eats. And I also have to shout out Coke Zero. We're not sponsored. We'd love to be sponsored here, but my good friends, like we've said it before on the pod, my friends from college, my group of guys, 8 of us, we call ourselves the dads. And we used to, none of us were fathers, and now 5 out of the 8 are dads, which is insane. But the dads, our favorite drink, our collective drink, is Coke Zero. So it's so crazy. That is, so we call it the dad elixir. So now you got to call it the elixir. The elixir in Camelot is Coke. CZ, as we also, the cool kids call it CZ.
Nice.
And then my snack, I was just gonna say, my snack of choice is pretzels. I love a rolled gold, just because they're so easy. They're kind of filling. They're not crazy unhealthy, and they make no mess. They're the cleanest treat for a salty snack. And I usually like dinner. I love to cook dinner. I love to be hey, if you're coming over for game night and dinner, let's have a big dinner and then let's play games so you don't feel the need to eat something gross while we're playing.
Now listen, I'm gonna shout it out really quick because my buddy Dave.
Yeah.
We had a bet going on. Dave has a very massive collection.
Okay.
Right? Over 1K games.
That's
right?
Wow. That's a lot. Yeah.
Dave, I hope I'm not outing you here, but I'm enamored about his collection because
we're putting Dave's address on the screen here for you to see Dave where you want to go check it out.
He has some wonderful games in this collection. It's one of those things if I'm going to pick up a game, especially if it's an older title, I always, hey Dave, do you have this? My buddy Mike has a very curated collection, concise and curated. He tries to keep it under 100, and there's some bangers in there. He likes a lot of the older titles too, and I'm so thankful because he's introduced me to a lot of the older Aaliyah games, and so we had a little bet going on. I'm gonna just put it out there. So we said, Dave, if we were to just take one game out of your collection, would you be able to identify the set number of games? If we took a set number of games out of your collection, and we had a bet on the table, and it was if he could identify I think it was 70% of those games that were missing from the collection, right? No problem. I think we were gonna buy him a game, and if he didn't, he was gonna cook us a steak dinner, and we won the bet.
Tomahawks on the way, baby. We got to get some tomahawk.
Dave he has this culinary degree. And he made an incredible ribeye with this truffle butter. And I got to shout out, Dave, you throw down, man, in the kitchen with some, just this garlicky, the potatoes were just incredible. The mashed potatoes were incredible. The string beans out of this world. Very, very good. Yeah. So that when you thought about dinner, yes, a good dinner puts it to the spot. So yeah, Dave, you got down, man.
That's great. We were talking to Dwayne, who's a chef too. You having a good cook friend. That's amazing. I am looking at my shelf. My shelf right here is not my full I have like 264 games. I don't even know why I'm pretending like I have to round it. I know exactly how many games I have. 264 games. And on this shelf is probably only like 150 or 100 or so. I would definitely notice if you took a game from here. But in my whole collection, it's kind of tough because I have like some hidden in closets and all that stuff. But okay, that's great. I don't even know who's we had some great asides. I was talking about Honor Camelot. So what was, do you have another? I only have one more left after this. So what do you got?
Yeah, I have one more, and it kind of just goes, just put fun first. Don't be too over competitive. Mm-hmm. I know for me, it's a huge turnoff when I'm playing a game with someone and they're just uber competitive, right? Like they just their first thing is to just like take you down. I want to win games too, right? But I know for me, the very first time I'm playing a game, if it's for the very first time, never played it before, even though I may be the one who's learned it and I'm ready to play, like I'm just pushing buttons and pulling levers, right? That's just me. I'm not worried about, but then you have some people that are just so competitive. We understand like our etiquette in our game nights. It's like, okay, if we've gotten too far past the step, like, you know, we always ask, hey, you mind? I forgot this. Do you mind if I take that back really quick? Or and it's obviously once it's our turn's not completely over, right? But something as simple as like, I forgot to collect this cash or collect this, right? But you have someone who's just like super competitive, like, oh no, you missed your window for that. Like that's just
chess rules, bro. You took your finger off the bishop.
It's like that's a huge turnoff. Like I love to win too, but like if that little like window because that person missed it, right? And you're like, oh, I hope they miss it because if they miss it, I'm not going to let them take it back. Oh, they missed it. Perfect. I'm good. I'm a little step ahead. To me, that in my eyes, that's kind of like cheating anyway, right? It's like, you know, if I can find my competitive advantage over, listen, that's a huge turnoff. If it's all about the win, I don't want to be at that table. I've had some buddies that I have some other group chats, right? And we talk about them like, yo, I'm at this game night and this dude is just like massively, you know, competitive. How do I like, you know, deal with it? I says, to be honest, sometimes depending on how it is, depending on how bad it is, I might just get up and be like, after the game, I'm out. Like, I'm bouncing. You know?
It's such a tough thing to be that way. I mean, and again, I know people have different personality types, but you do have to find that group. You know, I think I'll give another dad staple. One of our terms we use a lot is retcon, which comes from like the comic book world where you retroactively like change something. And if it's still your turn or it's the person right after you and you say, I got to retcon this, I messed up, like it's totally okay. Now you shouldn't be asking to retake your turn back when it was like 4 turns ago or like give yourself an extra thing like and that's kind of an etiquette thing too. Don't put people in an awkward position to have to say correct. But so my number 5 was don't be ultra competitive. You said
we're
uber.
On
we are in the same. This is we never share our list. Ultra competitive, uber competitive. For board states, we're gonna call it competitivissimo. Okay, we'll call it. But I said mostly, more especially like sore losing is one of those things where like I've got people I know in my life where it's like if they're behind and they know they're behind or feel that they're behind the whole time. Or from the beginning, they will complain the whole time. Like, oh, I just got completely screwed over by this and this, and just whining about what the game did to you or what other people did to you the whole time. It just sucks the air out of the room. And I really think it's one of my biggest pet peeves, especially when it turns into like politicking, which is a great term for games like the roots and the arcs. You do have to kind of like attack the king. I understand. But again, I don't love root because probably this. Commander, my least favorite thing about Magic the Gathering Commander is politicking and saying, well, that guy's winning, so we need to attack him. Like having that, being that person at the table that's like trying to get other people to gang up on someone. Like that is a personal pet peeve. I don't know if that's a general, but I think generally for most board games, that is not the intended purpose. You know, again, there are games, the Cole Whirly games out there that are intentionally like that, but I just think trying to do that in games where that's not necessarily the strategy is not cool in my opinion. So yeah, I said ultra competitive. Yeah, like not finding the fun first is a great way to put it too. It's just like we're here to have a good time. So I mean that's what board games are all about.
Exactly. 100%.
Awesome. Wow. We are experts now. We are Bridgerton level, you know, we know all the rules of society. So I love that. Did you have anything? I don't even have any real honorable mentions. I think those were the big ones here.
No, I think it was good. Dearest gentle listeners.
Dearest gentle
You have
listener.
listened to our proper etiquette
Yes.
for gaming with your friends.
Yes, you
or
know-
non-friends.
The Ton. You know how to play board games in the Ton. Tabletop love. Yeah, I'll say, so mine were be prepared, help with setup and teardown, honor Camelot, which really is like phones, food, components, be open to new experiences, and don't be ultra competitive.
Yeah, I have just the snacks. Pick the game for the audience.
Yep.
Respect the components.
Yep.
Put fun first, and respect the rules.
Yep.
That's pretty much how it is.
Love it. Okay, we're going on to our ending segment. We might actually have an episode under an hour here. That was a good topic. Please chime in, comment on Spotify, comment on YouTube, send us an email, boardstatespod@gmail.com if you want to chime in. There's probably some major thing we missed that someone's going to bring up. So we will shout it out next episode for sure. Okay, moving on to En La Mesa. Jazz, let's go in chronological order. Why don't you bring us back to trading in the Mediterranean back for 2013 Matt Gertz Concordia?
Yeah, 2013 Matt Gertz, Rio Grande Games. This is Concordia. Concordia pretty much is like an OG, like it's a top 100 BGG game. It's set in that Roman Empire. Pretty much, I'm gonna tell you right now. Look at the box cover art. It's not gonna wow you. It's got some it's not appealing, right? And then I feel like they redid a second printing supposed to kind of appeal it as well, and it's still not appealing. But this is one of your old dry looking Euro games, right? And it is, I love a dry Euro though. The drier the better.
The
sometimes.
beiger the better. This is the quintessential beige Euro that's like a good game, right? Yeah.
But this is pretty much where your idea is. You're going to be starting it's a map of Italy, right? And you are going to be trading in the Mediterranean. You're leaving out of Rome. You start with a two different types of colonists, right? You have a ship, and then you have a man that's moving, a colonist, it's a foot colonist moving through the land. And on your turn, everybody has the same set of cards. And I'm not going to go through all of the different cards that you have, but pretty much the cards allow you to do certain things. You can purchase new items in the market, and the items start from like wood, wheat, wine. You have steel, you have cloth, right? And they have different values, so they're obviously more valuable. The cloth is the most valuable resource. The brick is the cheapest resource. And you start with a base resource at the beginning of the game. You start with 4 colonists on your player board, and then you start with 2 colonists out on the player board. The idea of the game is you are trying to move your colonists throughout the board, playing your card on your turn. You pretty much play one of your cards and do what it says. You can pretty much move throughout the map, and then you can build houses out onto the different cities that you're connected to. And to build the cities, you have to pay coins, and you have to pay specific resources. You have other cards that will allow you to be a merchant. You can buy resources and sell resources. You have other cards that will allow you to pretty much copy cards that your opponent has previously played.
The face-up card in their discard pile. Very important timing with that, yeah.
Yep, and that's the thing, and it's that Tribune card, right? You pretty much play it, and is it the Tribune
That's the
card?
Diplomat card. That's the Diplomat.
That's the Diplomat
and
card.
And the Tribune brings them all back.
The Diplomat. Yeah. The Tribune. So pretty much you're going to be playing all these cards, moving around the board, but there is also a market, and a market allows you to purchase additional cards, and it is one of those I guess it's an ascending purchase cost, right? So you have 2 cards that you pretty much pay the cost on the actual card to gain that resource. And as the cards come out, the longer that card has been in the market row to purchase, the cheaper that card becomes. Yeah, so it's just this push and pull of when to buy the specific cards. And you're going to think, why am I trying to buy specific cards? It's important because buying those cards come directly to your hand, and you can immediately use that card again. Your turns pretty much are play a card, do the action, and then once I have no cards left to play, there is a Tribune card that allows you to bring those cards that you've played back into your hand, so then you can play it again. So you're pretty much spending a turn to be able to get some money, and you're going to get your cards back. So hand management, resource game. This is specifically what this game is. And there are cards that allow you to get your colonists that are on your player board out onto the map, so you have more colonists to do more things, but they also open spots on your player board to hold more resources. But the key thing about having more colonists on the board is the more colonists you have on the board, the more movement your colonists on the board have to, expand on the board. So your movement starts with just 2 movement at the beginning of the game because you have 2 colonists on the board. But you can potentially get up to 6 and have 6 movement, which allows you to use maybe 2 movement here for this one, 4 movement here for this one. And the idea is trying to amass this, trade network pretty much to gather your various resources. There's a cool prefect card in the game where you play that card, and if you don't have resources, you can play that card, choose a specific region in that card, and that region it's a random setup, produces a specific good, and you'll gain that good, but you'll also gain the goods for every city, and whatever that specific city produces, you'll gain that resource back if you have a trade house in that city. But also your opponents will gather resources. So whoever has trade houses in that specific region, when the prefect card is played, whatever your city produces, you'll gather those resources. And yes, you have the ability to build trade houses in cities that your opponents may have played in, but it's going to be more costly. So for each additional trade house prior to you, you have to pay an additional cost. I like this game because it becomes very tactical, and when to play your cards, how to play your cards.
Timing.
I love this game I love this game 2-player. I love it at other player counts. This is a review copy. I'll preface that from Rio Grande Games. Big shout out to them. This is a game that I had previously played in the past, and I had honestly soloed. I 2-handed this game, and I was like, I hope I can find someone to play it, and I really didn't have anyone to play it with. But they sent me a review copy. I played it with my brother for the first time, physical copy, and it was just one thing. It was just back to back, just banging it out really quick. It's a quick game too. It says hand management, deck building-esque type game.
Yeah.
But you score points based off of the cards also in your hand, because the
really
cards not only have abilities, but
mm-hmm.
they also have specific scoring things. Like you can score cards based off of what regions you are in,
mm-hmm.
or one for how many colonists you have on the board, one for how many specific for goods. So if you're producing steel, right? So if you have more steel cities that you have trade houses in, you're going to gain more points. And what the cool thing is, it's each card scores. So if you have 2 of those same cards that score the same thing, it's like a multiplier. So it's really cool to the game really takes it to the very last that last angst. And the end game trigger is having one person has all of their trade houses out on the board, or the last card from the market is bought up. And for me, that seems to be the end game trigger, is the last card in the market. And it's like really tight turns. Like you see the cards out there, you're really timing. I need to be able to do this to get my score up that I need. And it's difficult. And we have some crazy games. Me and my brother on BGA. My brother's not a board gamer at all, but we've been playing this one a lot. I welcomed Reggie to a game, and we've been playing it as well. I also have the app on my phone, on my iPad, and it's the one that I've been enjoying on all platforms. I'm loving it. So yeah. And the reason I'm bringing this one up is because I know Awakened Realms is doing one of those crazy special edition refreshes, and I was glad that Rio Grande sent this one to me, because it's one of those, like, I'm going to play this, see if I really like it. The new one, yes, I know there's a lot of like crap about the whole like AI art bit and stuff like that, and they had addressed it, saying that we just pretty much put like a mock art to kind of give us an idea so we can show it up there. Again, I think sometimes people need to take be a little bit more attuned into just throwing something up there just so you can open up the campaign really quick, right? If you have an artist already that you've hired for this, a little bit longer, even if you say, art is, pending, whatever the case may be, you can just say, hey, this is coming, right? So yeah, I wanted to kind of play it to see whether or not this is one that I want to try out. Rio Grande Games sent me 2 new maps that I'm interested in trying out. One is the Crete map.
Okay, Crete.
It's designed specifically for like 2 players.
Cool.
It's like plays best at 2, and then the other one is they say plays best around 3 players. So I'm super excited to check those maps out as well physically. But I've been playing them on the app already.
Cool.
So yeah, I like them.
Yeah, Concordia, man. I mean, of course you like it. I am getting whooped up in this 2-player game that we're playing by Jazz. It's really cool. I got to say a couple things about it. Number one, Kennerspiel winner. You know me, I love my Kennerspiels, which is great. And I remember when I first heard about it, it was already pretty peak, when I got in the hobby around 2019, 2020. And so I remember I was learning about mechanisms. I was deep in the BGG, even as I am now. And I was like, a deck builder? Ooh, that sounds so exciting. But it's called the deck builder, but it's really hand management. And when you buy new cards, they go to your discard, and then you bring them all back to your hand. It's a very unique one that has been replicated. I think Aquatica does this really well also, that gets compared to a lot.
Okay.
But that purchasing market is called Dutch auction. They'll call that Dutch auction when it comes out, it's the most expensive, and the longer it stays in the market, the cheaper it becomes. That's called Dutch auction. And then I really love those create your own scoring condition. I think that is the coolest thing about this game is like the cards I'm grabbing have actions, but I'm also looking at the end game scoring conditions that they have at the bottom, and I'm playing around those cards, and usually the cards help you get there. It is so simple in that what you said at the very beginning is like the whole game is play a card and do what it says on the card. And I think that's
exactly
really helpful. And then I would just say if you're one of those people who, and again, I love a little luck in my games, but if you're one of those people who's like, I hate when the dice screws me or the giant deck of cards screws me. Like, this was one of the first praised games where it's like, if you are losing, like I am doing right now in BGA, it's your fault. I mean, for the most part, you made a mistake, and people love that. The people who want high strategy, no luck games, like, I think this is a great one. There's obviously a market and everything, but like, you have control over everything, and I think that is something that should be praised. But this is one of those games, man. People love it. I'll just say, trading in the Mediterranean is a meme because of this game, I think. Like, why are there so many of these? If they just did, like I said, I said this on a different podcast literally last week, if they just did Westeros, Concordia Westeros, or Concordia Middle Earth, or I am spending my whole paycheck on a Concordia Westeros, because it seems like they can do so many maps. Yeah, Westeros would be so great. They got water and everything. It's like, just do something like that. So I've said this now twice in public. So if this happens, I want my royalties and I want a free copy. Okay. There's Concordia 2013. See, that's what I love about our pod. We don't have to stay with the new hotness. I want to just say this right now.
It's not about the hotness. It's about what's hitting the table, what you're playing.
Yes.
Listen,
And
I don't care about like the hotness. Got to be in the now.
Yes.
Again, we've got to be welcoming to new gamers. Some of these games are readily accessible to people, right? And you can still get this game readily. People are getting rid of it because the new special edition's coming out.
I
so
didn't
you'll
know
probably
about
get
that.
it under 30, 25, $20 for a used copy. So keep your eye out on this one. I think this is a very also gateway-ish type of like
Gateway
game
Plus
for Gateway Plus Euro game that the mechanisms aren't too hard to teach anybody. You start with the cards in your hand and you play a card, do what it says, and the strategy develops as you play it, and you shift your strategy as well as you play it. Yeah,
I love the tactical part. I forgot to mention, there's a lot of maps, but there's also the Solitaria expansion, and people love that. I remember Candace Harris told me that's like one of her favorite ones, the solo mode on Concordia, so I want to try that. So to segue from the classic, I'm going to talk about two games that aren't out yet. This is not something I do. Again, like, I'm not a big crowdfunder. I'm going to tell you right away. I'll tell you straight up. But there are two games that have come across my table, and I've been playing them. They're both review copies. There's no payment involved. It's not a paid preview, but I just really want to highlight them both because I've been having such a great time for two different reasons, very differently. So I'll talk about Pack of Penguins, which Jazz also got a review copy. Shout out to Ben Lee, who's the designer. Imagine Ben is his company. Him and I met at Dice Tower West 2025 when I brought my Rhino Rummy prototype, and he had a different game and this one. And so we met. It's awesome. California. I'm shouting out two West Coasters here in this episode. But Pack of Penguins is a cute, quick card game for family game night. That's the one sentence pitch. It's got these cute penguins on the front, art by Kendall Gates. It will be coming to Kickstarter very soon in the next month or so. If you're listening to this, it might already be up. And it's 10 minutes long. And I really think there's not enough games out there like that are short. I think we did that for, what did we do? We did that for the draft, didn't we? Back in the day, we had like the running back for our board game draft was 10 minutes or less, and this one is a good one there. How it plays is really interesting. It is just a hand of 1 to 50 cards, okay? 2 to 5 players, and if you're playing 3 or 4 players, you will still create a deck of 8 cards for that 4th player or that 5th player, which is awesome. And so what you do is there's going to be a first player to start randomly, or you can, I think there's a specific reason, and someone plays out a card, numbers 1 through 50. And you're going to also see a card from the deck if you're playing less than 5 players. But let's just say we're playing 5 players. First player puts a card down. Maybe it's a 33. I'm looking and I want to put a card. I can put any card from my hand. We all start with 8 cards. But there are these cards that are out there called the flow, ice flow. And it has 5 spots, like these locations. And they all have different denominations of fish, eggs, or a star, okay? And or any I can have all 3 on there. Eggs are the victory points. That the most eggs you get, penguins love to have their little eggs and their little nest. If you have the eggs, you're going to get victory points. Fish are a really cool mechanism. At the end of the game, the person with the least amount of fish is going to lose 2 eggs. So it's kind of just, you don't want to be the person who completely ignored fish, because you will lose those points. That happened to be me at the game that I played most recently at game night. And then there's a little star. And so of the 5 rankings based on the numbers that I'll explain a little better in a second, there's also going to determine who the starting player is for the next round. Yes. So what happens is someone plays a card down, a number, and then so let's say they play 33. I'm going to play a 35 because I want to be the top spot that has 3 eggs on it because it has the most points. But then someone else plays a 42. Now I'm in the second to highest spot. Then someone plays a 1 and somebody plays a 5. And based on, the rankings of those, kind of like a Take 5. Have you ever played 6 Nimmt or Take 5? Also on BJ, OG Wolfgang Kramer game. That's how this feels in that way. But instead of simultaneous play, it's in turn order. And so you see the numbers that are out. If you're the last player, you have that option to just, I want to be the top number. Or you can put yourself right where you are as long as you have the numbers in hand. And so it's so easy for kids to understand. Like, all you're doing is playing a card, and based on where you rank of the 5 cards, you get rewards. And again, in a 3 or 4 player game, there's going to be a 5th card out there to take that slot for you. And to know what it is, you have these little standees. Again, this is a very pre-production copy, but these little standees of different types of penguins, as the bird and animal guy, I love them. There's the rockhopper penguin, emperor, Adelie, little blue penguin, which is one of my favorite cards in Wingspan, and I can't remember the other one. There's 5 of them. But when you play your card down, you also put your little standee on it so you know where it is. And then it'll move around based on the number. So it's really, really simple. You play 7 rounds, 10 minutes. Again, so fast. And it almost feels like a trick taker. That is the weird thing. Like, people, Ben told me, like, people got a little upset when he said it's the most like a trick taker. And they're like, this is not a trick taker. There's no suits. There's no suits in it. But it has the same feeling of, you play a card, then I play a card in reaction to that, and you go around the table. The person who has last play has the choice to just completely, quote unquote, win the trick. But it plays more like a trick taker than a simultaneous action game. All about hand management, really simple, really straightforward, adorable. And I would just shout it out as something that I feel like the hobby steps past too much. There's way too many games in that 20 to 30 minute range. I mean, that's kind of my specialty, but there's not enough of these quick, lighthearted games that still make you think. Check out my Instagram stories. I'll be posting this in game nights and everything. But that's Pack of Penguins. Do you have anything you want to say about that one, Jazz?
I will hold off because I am doing some sponsored content on that. But okay. Yes, definitely, it's in that family weight range. I think people should definitely, if you're looking for family weight games, definitely keep your eye out on this one. It might fall in line with something that you are interested in. I think Reggie was able to describe exactly everything that this game is about. Yeah, for that one. And
in a short amount of time.
Yeah, in a very short amount of time. And I agree with you. Games that don't rarely hit that target, especially for that new gamers can kind of get into, that you can teach, but still have a little bit of that thinkiness to keep, gamers engaged as well. Mm-hmm. That's one thing that we don't have enough of in this hobby. And, this is definitely something, when this one is getting ready to launch on crowdfunding, is one you might want to, keep your eyes on.
Yeah. Awesome. We'll look forward to that for Pack of Penguins. So now, going further, and I'll just be completely honest, this that Pack of Penguins, great little game. I'm going to be bringing this around when I get my full copy all the time. This Counterpoint game has really kind of got me hooked right now. So this is called Counterpoint, a cooperative classical music trick-taking game, okay? 3 to 5 players, 15 minutes. It is designed by Ted Monschaller. Here is his name. He's up in Seattle, so another West Coaster, another Pacific Northwesterner. The designer's name is Brandon Campbell from Georgia. The art is so beautiful. Again, if you have not been following me on Instagram at Rolling Reggie and see me put these put pictures of this on my story, like I'm so stunned by the way this looks. So cooperative trick taking, 3 to 5 players. I think immediately The Crew. I think immediately Fellowship of the Ring, the trick taking game. And you are right, it is very much in line with those games, same size box, but it's got this really cool classical musical theme here. Okay, so each different scenario in the book, I think there's like 50 plus in the base game, is a real song, which I think is awesome. You know, you've got Bach and Mozart and all these people I've never heard of. Like the First Woman one was really cool. That was in there. And then he created all these different goals that you're supposed to follow based or like different rules, very much like The Crew or something, based on that music and stuff. So when everybody gets dealt out a hand of cards, there's a reserve of a handful of cards left, depending on the amount of players. But I think in a 5-player game, there's 5 cards left over. Then you flip the top card. And of those 4 suits, one of those is going to become the melody suit, which is the trump suit for that scenario. And that'll change every time you play. And so I think that's already a great thing. I think I've been finding I don't love when a game has one suit that's the trump suit. I like when the trump suit rotates around. And then there's all these little musical notes that are going to be like little wooden musical notes in the middle. And the player to the left of the melody player is going to take 1, 2, or 3. And that is a bid, okay? So they're taking a bid, but not how many tricks they're going to win. It's how many cards in their suit are they going to win. So every player is assigned a suit. I'm sorry, there are 5 suits because it's 5-player. I forgot to mention blue. And so you are saying, okay, I'll take 3 because I have some pretty good cards. And then it goes to the next person. Everybody has to take at least 1 right away. There's some, obviously, rules changing later on in scenarios. And then it gets back to that player and they can take more or pass. But if there's like 17 in the middle, between the 5 of us, those 17 musical notes need to be claimed by someone. So it might fall on the person last in turn order, and we're all working together. So it's like, who do we think can win the most of their cards? You know, and we kind of work together without, again, revealing what's in our hand. And so you keep doing that. And then you play pretty standard trick taking, must follow. You play a card and everybody's got some powers, and everybody starts with this one power called rest. And if you're a musician at all, you know that sometimes your job as a musician in a quartet or quintet is to not play music. You know, you need to stop. And so you can play your rest card once in a scenario to not play into the trick. If you're like, I really do not want to win this trick. I need Brittany to win the trick because she's the purple player and she needs to win all these purple cards. And so that already is really great, the powers and everything. And especially that you're trying to win cards of your suit based on your character. And the 5 characters are all these anthropomorphic animals. There's an armadillo playing a piano, which is the cutest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I always play the lizard playing the viola. There's a possum, a bufalon. Oh gosh, Ted, sorry, correct me. It's like an interesting antlered animal. And then there is like a pig, which is really cute. So you keep doing this. It's very standard, but it just feels tense. It feels fun. The powers are fun. And again, each scenario's 10 to 15 minutes. And the best part is because every single scenario is a piece of music, you're supposed to play that song while you play the thing. So you play this classical music while you're playing and you just really get into the vibe, which I really love. Finally, there's one piece that I haven't played of it that I think is just straight up genius. And this is called the concert variant. Okay. There's 50 scenarios. So you pick a light, a easy, a medium, a hard, and a virtuoso. So virtuoso are the hardest ones, right? So you pick one from each of the categories and you play them in a row, all 4, and you have to win all 4. But your abilities don't reset. Usually just between scenarios, you get to just reset your powers that you used. They don't reset until the middle between rounds 2 and 3 because that's intermission. So you play songs 1 and 2, and then you can reset your powers, and then you play 3 and 4. I think that's just Chef's Kiss thematic. I think it's beautiful. The later round ones, the Virtuoso and the hard, we played like one Virtuoso scenario, so hard. We didn't even come close to winning. But it was like one of those things where you're like, oh, okay, I know how we could play this better. And I don't want to spoil all those. You can look at it when the campaign drops. So it's coming really soon here this month. Counterpoint, a co-op classical music tricking game. This has really surprised me. And I especially when I love Fellowship and I love Lord of the Rings. I love the crew. I wouldn't think that I'd want another one, but it just does things a little differently, especially just that you're winning cards and not tricks. I want to just highlight, I think that is the coolest thing. It's such a different take. And then all the powers have just crazy things and the thematics are awesome. So Counterpoint, classical musical trick-taking game.
Yeah, I just pulled this one up and I hit that notify me on launch because everything you said is something that I look for in a trick taker. It's definitely unique, thematic in and of itself. But yeah, I'm looking at it. The cards look pretty cool too.
Yeah.
I like the artwork on it as well. So yeah, this is definitely one that's on my radar. Notify me on launch.
Yep.
Already done.
There it is. Yeah, so those are my two. Pack of Penguins and Counterpoint both coming. Again, I'll bring it back to like 2010 next episode. But I wanted to shout these ones out.
No, that was great. That was great, Reg. So you let me know. We closing this out?
We're closing it out. Let's go.
No, it's been a great show. Honestly, I hope you guys have enjoyed it. You know, I always love talking about things when it comes to the hobbies, especially not just always talking about games, talking about things within the hobby, hobby adjacent, right? But again, before we close out, we always want to give a huge shout out, first and foremost, to you guys, the listeners, for, you know, sticking us through with us, talking about the best hobby in the world. But again, we always want to give a shout out to our podcast music by my buddy Judge, aka at Dre the Producer on Instagram, and also at Kenan at Punchboard Cathedral for our awesome board gaming logo. But again, we always say thanks for you guys for listening to us, and we talk about the best hobby in the world, but you could be doing anything, spending your time doing whatever else it is there is out there, but you chose to listen to us here on Board States, the podcast where friends become rivals and the board states decide the outcome. We will catch you on the next one.
Nos vemos.